Are you a coder who gets rejected based on no practical experience or because others have a strong LinkedIn personal brand and you don't? Your coaching institute will hate me for doing this, but I welcome you to Code to Career 30 days challenge where I have chosen these 5 total strangers out of my LinkedIn contacts and have taken up the challenge to help them go from jobless or underpaid to well paid job, that too without additional degrees and certifications in the next 30 days. If you are a coder and wants to get a well paid job, this is your golden chance to experience real project implementation from scratch that gets you a well paid job and builds your LinkedIn personal brand and also resume for absolutely free. So why just watch? Get into our WhatsApp community to experience this. Link is in the description. Now let's get started. So we'll quickly jump to the details so that I will leave good amount of time after this thing. So Priyanka, can you come on camera?
Yes, Bansi. I
Yeah,
had some audio issues.
yeah, please
Just,
do.
yeah,
So once
I
you,
joined from mobile only.
I will go a bit fast now because the document is self-explanatory. After that, I will give enough time for you to actually ask any questions. So there are 2 to 3 kinds of maps or I counted for 25 days. If you see Saturday and Sunday, we are giving time for you to do the things. You would have seen the message also, right? That Saturday and Sunday you can actually do the activities so that you gain complete points on that particular day by doing all the activities. So the project that you are going to do is called CLI infrastructure for embedded systems. So this is the high level design document. In brief, let me draw what it is. Yeah. You have an application on an embedded device. So this is an embedded device. You call it application, business logic. There are various terms that people identify and note, but essentially it is something which the user wants to get it done as a requirement using microcontroller. His the product application as such. It could be as trivial as blinking an LED and could be as complex as launching a space shuttle. Yeah, or launching a satellite, whatever. The point is, there are people or users who are interested to access this and get some information. System health, the proceedings, various parameters, the state of certain sensor. Is LED on or off? What is the frequency between on and off, or the time period between on and off? Anything and everything, the simplest to the most complex. And microcontroller or the product return backs the response to the user. We are now introducing between application and the user a layer of software which is CLI, command line interface. This is not a new concept. This is a very age-old concept. We all have seen it, bash shell, everything. But I'm not talking about a shell as such. A shell is a very full-blown thing. A shell will have certain kind of parameters like you will have virtual terminal and all those things. We are not getting into those things. For example, I can do control C on a shell. The shell interprets that, oh, the user wants to stop the current processing. I'm not talking about those kind of things. So there is a distinction between shell, the usage of the word shell versus command line interface. So the command line interface is to the quote unquote what it says. You type a command, then you expect a response. You type a command with certain more, let us say, parameters, and then the system responds as per the command plus parameters what it has to do. It will return the appropriate data. Taken in a simple fashion, command response. Yeah. Now, simple infrastructure, but very, I should say, very profound use cases can be derived around it. The first thing, this direct communication is now no more possible. Obvious, yeah, because I told that this person is in between the microcontroller application code and the user who is interested. So this direct communication is obviously not there. It has to go via now this person, sort of gatekeeper, goes to the microcontroller, gets the data of interest, and then returns it to the user. The first thing that you can obviously think is, if I am a user and I want to get certain data, there can be something called access restrictions. Oh, are you a genuine user? If you are, then endorse yourself or authenticate yourself that you are genuine person by providing certain password or maybe a pin. Then I allow you to go and interact with me by using the proper commands. Now I am very new to the command line interface. I don't know what to do. Anytime you went on to the shell or on a command and you don't know what to do you remember what command you need to type?
Help.
Yes. So help is a universally applicable and always present command. So you need to have help. The document has everything, but I'm telling you what this project entails. And this project is very, very useful right from 8-bit controllers to even 32-bit controllers, providing a beautiful infrastructure and an opportunity for you to write a device driver, because the shell has to communicate with the user. The shell has to communicate with the microcontroller. This communication has good way of interacting with the other modules of the software. So there is a software design involved in that. But this communication, I have to communicate with the user through certain physical interface. Most predominantly, the physical interface can be UART. But this is an opportunity for you to understand and write a UART driver so that you send a command completely. It is not that I sent a byte. You are sending a collection of bytes that makes sense. It is not one byte, some collection of bytes, quote unquote, a string, because command is ultimately a string. So this is an opportunity for you to really write a device driver also and expose certain APIs through CLI layer, expose certain APIs so that the user application can interact with it. Sort of like ports. They can tap into your CLI infrastructure, not everywhere, but you provide something. Now this could be, if somebody is interested saying that, oh, you what, I have done so many number of times, I want to get it done through USB. Yes. If you know that, if you are aware that I know how to communicate with USB, you can write a client driver or something called as host driver, device driver. Now this device driver is not the device driver, but it is a device driver which has USB. Oh, sorry, it is not a device driver, but it is the device driver, because in USB you have something called as host and device. I leave the option to you, but barest minimum, you can use UART and write a driver. So opportunity to write a device driver and an opportunity to write a very beautiful infrastructure here which seamlessly integrate itself in terms of communicating and accessing other modules of the microcontroller, which are the application modules. Thermostat, you put any other sensor which is collecting certain parameters, but your CLI infrastructure should have an extensible design that it can tomorrow accommodate a new sensor being added to the microcontroller. Then I want to add an extra command. I don't have till now, let us say, temperature sensor. So I would like to read the temperature sensor now because it has been added to the device or the system. But this infrastructure is not going anywhere. It is there. The ports are already there. The communication mechanism is already implemented. What I need to know is extend the CLI infrastructure. So is my CLI infrastructure that I am creating good enough that I do certain kind of things? It gets extension of getting the temperature. At the same time, the most important part is because of my current work, the existing commands should not have any disruption. Make sense? Maybe I will do some tests as a regression part, saying that okay, is my change good enough that it is not breaking other thing? Beyond that, you don't go and verify exhaustively. Now that confidence can only come if your CLI infrastructure is strong enough or flexible enough to accommodate additional commands. That is one thing. One is access. Now the second thing is how big do you want to allow the user ID? The user ID can be just admin or certain few characters, or it could be an elaborate string also. Then after that limitation that you want to put on user ID, it goes without saying that the password can also have a limitation. Now password can have, or I mean, it can have limitation in the sense you can go for special characters also. You can go for plain 4-digit number, 6-digit number, alphanumeric. These are all design considerations. We all know it, right? We all have been dealing with systems which have access controls, which have user IDs, where you type in passwords, you get OTPs. A bank will give 4-digit OTP or 4-number OTP, and some bank will give 6, 8. So we have discussed these things a little bit some time back, right? This is a little bit of repetition, but I'm again setting the context in a bigger way. If you want to work with me personally, where I guarantee to work with you until you secure a well paid job, book a one on one call with me. Link is in the description. Because I am going to give today your requirements document. So have focus and listen to each and everything. You may find certain points and you will start looking into those directions. Now, after that, once the user at a question, valid question that was asked, that once a user enters and enters the system, is it necessary that he has to every time authenticate himself? Maybe not necessary, but that requires you to store the password and map it to the user and then always validate it. Make sense? So every time he does something, you have to validate. But for our practical purpose, we will say that once the user enters, we don't have to validate again. The password can be hard coded. The user ID is always hard coded because we don't have so much time. Now the password can be encrypted also, which I have done, which I have also told earlier. Yeah. You can have a database of SQLite, then you have a driver. If the password is stored in a file, then you have a file system. Now, if this is a CLI infrastructure that is present in the device, and it has and your system has capability of Ethernet, hook it up with Ethernet, and you can access it over network. You can access it over network, which means it's a remote access, HTTP protocol, many things. So this fits, this infrastructure fits the requirements or the capabilities of a 8-bit controller to a bigger controller. As and when you stack up the features and as much as you increase the complexity. Remote CLI mechanism is a very, very complex thing. Yeah. Now let us get into the requirements document. This we will observe section by section, not every section, but most of the sections so that you become clear. 15 more minutes, we will maybe 15 to 20 minutes, and then we will get into the Q&A. The document will be put into the your, so this is a copyrighted material. Yeah, not strictly copyrighted material. But yes, don't share it until you really understand and you start doing it for your own benefit. Yeah. There were more than 72 people in that 40 plus actually attended that seminar. And then you all have gone through interviews. Do you value the time that you have spent and all those things? If yes, be very selfish. So introduction, the document outlines the high-level requirements. The CLI is designed to register and process various commands, including a fixed help command as the first entry. So I already gave you certain leg room. I'm only saying that the first entry is always help command. What are the objectives? To create a flexible and efficient CLI system for embedded devices to enable easy registration and processing of custom commands. Make a note of this word, custom commands. That's why I'm not even imposing anything with respect to the backend logic that you want to put. You go with a very simple logic of just manipulating an LED with different delays. What is the current existing delay between on and off? Is my LED blinking up? Is my LED operation a blink operation or a constant operation that it switches on and it stays forever? To implement a consistent and user-friendly interface for command interaction. Tomorrow, when somebody wants to use it, don't make it so much complicated. Have a handful of commands which make sense when I even spell out the commands, what the command is trying to do. Don't write a command saying that Rip Van Winkle. Write some commands like set, get. So this is another hint. Because you want to set certain parameter and you want to get certain parameter. Very primitive information. Set space temp for temperature space value. Yeah. Maybe that is a threshold that you want to set. So that when the temperature really rises and crosses above that, the system detects it because it crosses the threshold, it crossed the threshold, and maybe the LED is glowing. But are you really near the device to actually know that the LED is glowing? I don't know. You're getting my point? But I have a mechanism to say that get LED, assuming that there is only LED 1. Maybe you give LED 1 or 2 or something. Then it will bring back the state saying that on. Oh, it means something is bad with the system. Maybe the temperature is increasing beyond threshold because I have set the threshold. Now use the get temp. It brings the threshold or the setting that you have already done. The CLI infrastructure will consist of a command registration system, a command processing system, a predefined help command, user-defined commands. So you need to register the commands. You need to have a function to process it. And what is that it is processing? User-defined commands and a predefined help command. I leave it to you how you want to define the scope of help command. It can be as simple as the moment you type help, It will list all the subsequent commands that are available in the system. Very simple. And a complex thing is, if you type help space command, out of so many valid commands, it will pick up the command that you asked it, and it may give that command along with all the options that it supports. So don't trivialize, at the same time, don't complicate. Now coming to the functional requirements. Command structure, each command will be defined. So this is something which I intentionally gave to you because somewhere you have to start, right? You can't imagine. So each command will be defined in a structure, something already now given to you. C structure, including command name, help text, command interpreter function. When this command gets executed or invoked, what is the function that should get invoked to handle that command, and expected number of parameters. Here also I leave it to your choice. If you say that, no, I don't want to have any parameters, it's all set and get. The moment I say get, it will get everything. The moment I set, it will go and set everything. Maybe when you say set and you are not sending anything, maybe something which is already stored in some NVRAM or somewhere, your microcontroller, your board will have certain memory, right? Somewhere you would have stored something. It will just go and read that and load the defaults. So you can always say that my set is like default. And your get can be something like the current temperature. So I am not telling those very specific requirements because we are not talking about the specific application logic. And I'm giving you full freedom with your quote unquote the application logic. What I am only interested and the project is asking is to create that layer of software, have anything in your application logic just that provide some hooks in the CLI infrastructure so that somebody outside of your application can talk with your application. That's the simplest thing. There's a government official or there's a doctor and somebody walks in, they cannot just enter into the doctor's room. They need to have a token. Somebody serializes the access to the doctor. You got it? And these kind of applications, the serializing applications, right? There are numerous. You understand this thing, there are many big cases, big use cases in the industry that you can very easily solve. And you will eventually understand and you reach a place that, oh, this kind of system can actually should be, this should be designed in that way. Now command registration, command structure, command registration. The system will provide a function to register commands. Again, intentionally, I'm throwing certain hints. Commands will be stored in an array or similar data structure. One more hint. What is that game in Windows? Minefield, Minesweep. What is that? That you click and suddenly you click something and there is a landmines. So in the same way, I'm putting all little bit hints all over the document. There will be a configurable limit to the number of commands that can be registered. Yes. I myself, I am saying there is a limit. It's not that your system will support 100 to 100 commands. Go for very few. Get the infrastructure done in such a way that you can add something more. Now command processing. The system will parse input strings to identify and execute commands. On identification, the corresponding command interpreter will be executed. Appropriate feedback or output will be provided for each executed command. This is needed. Okay, to know whether the command has gone through or not, some appropriate feedback or output will be provided. I mean to say actually should be provided. Help command. The help command will always be the first command in the system. When invoked, it will list all registered commands and their descriptions. Don't, if you have any parameters, don't include parameters, but let it know or let the user know that which are all the commands at least. Because you cannot create a system which the user himself or herself find very difficult to operate, right? Because he knows that at least he should type and he should know how or what are the capabilities of the system. The help command cannot be modified or unregistered. Now, in your case, you can go for unregistering of commands. I would say, do not worry about unregistering of commands. Unregistering of commands would be simply overwriting an index of an array. Now there is command X. You have command X1 now, which is an advanced one. Instead of worrying about how to remove that X, see, even removing an array element, you have to actually shift the elements of array and get it done, right? It's not a simple operation. If you add an element in the array and the array is not sufficient enough, then you have to again create another array with more locations and then copy all these from here to there. You are unregistering, if at all you go to, if at all you go for, just override the command. Yeah. User defined commands. User can define and register their own commands. Each command can have a unique set of parameters and functionality. This is something that I leave it to you again. Now 4.5 done. Technical requirements. The system will be implemented in C. Standard libraries like string.h, standard int, and stdio.h may be used. Memory management. Efficient use of memory is crucial considering the resource constraint of embedded systems. Yeah. Error handling. The system will robustly handle errors such as unrecognized commands or exceeded command limits. Testing and validation. Each component, registration, processing, etc., will undergo thorough testing. The complete system test will be tested for cohesive functioning. Testing under various loads to ensure stability and reliability. This is optional. There is nothing like load, I will load the system and all those things. Because this entirely depends on the kind of application that you are developing or that is back into the CLI. Comprehensive documentation should be provided, covering usage, examples, and API details. This is very important. A good software developer also needs to have good documentation skills. What if I just told you all these things that I have told till now, and you hear and I say that, okay, go and implement without providing this document? It will be very, very tough, right? So you need to understand. Huh? Yeah, it's getting recorded, right? Yeah, it's getting recorded. Okay. So future scope. Expansion to include more complex command parsing, potential integration with network modules for remote CLI access, incorporation of encryption for password and critical information, addition of console interface with virtual terminal semantics. Because these are only CLI, right? It doesn't understand control C, it doesn't understand carriage return, it doesn't understand next line. No, it does not understand anything. It only understands that give me the string, I will see whether the string is get or set. Then I go to the particular interpreting function, invoke that function, get the output and send it to you. When the command is getting executed, then I say control C, this should happen. No, that's all the part of console. For people who are familiar with Linux, shell and all those things, these things, I believe you are able to associate. Because the command ls has nothing to do with bash. Command ls is ls command, that's it. Even in Windows, if you go and say dir, dir has nothing to do with the command shell of Windows, right? You're getting my point? So this will be the document that will be given to you. You will be also given one roadmap. So I'll tell you how this game is going to be played. And we are literally going to play the game. Some people will like it, some people will not like it, but we'll play the game. Snakes and ladders. Okay, you are starting here and you end here. Yeah. Your every point is a, oh, you have ladders. Your every point and your every activity will make you climb. Your inaction, yeah, now this is snake. Your inaction will bring you down. So this kind of sheet will be provided. I'm trying to do, but I don't know how good it will be. But at a primitive level, you will enjoy that. Oh, I'm climbing the ladder. Your points are coming, and you will see that you got delayed. Then there will be a penalty, and some snake will bite you. Depending on the mistake that you have done, you will be punished by maybe coming down. See, your points won't change. Okay. Your points won't change. They stay intact because you have already put in the work. But then if you are not done the work, let us say, the points there as such will be present. But let us say after 2 weeks, the total value of points that you should get will be 50. Let us assume that. And somebody is at 33. Yeah. So you will be at a block called 33, wherein in fact you have to be at the block 50 because here it could be, let us say, 120 or 300, whatever. Some sort of game. Yeah. So you play for the points. We are trying to come with this. So take it as a game. Enjoy your process of learning, your coding, thinking about the problem, trying to brainstorm the solution. You can form into groups. I said that be selfish, but to brainstorm certain ideas, you can be there. But the idea once curated or once it takes a shape, it entirely depends on somebody's capability to actually implement, right? There you can't help others. You can't pass chits. The side person sitting by you and you're saying that, oh, what is it, and write. It's not that kind of exam. You write the code, you compile it, compiles without issue. Somebody might try on Linux environment to just get mock up lot of commands and then try to see if they can put it on controller. And I'm being very honest with you. To develop this thing and just test it on Linux or something, you will see that in the last moment also you will be fixing certain issues. Forget about microcontroller and some hardware. So take 2 or 3 things in parallel. Don't take one problem and try to make it pulp. Understand that, oh, somebody has to communicate with me, then I need to have a driver. Start doing something driver and then start to building the business logic of CLI infra. Try to see how the application logic can be hooked with the CLI infra. Yeah. So maybe I took actually 5 minutes more. I will stop now. Any questions? Ask.
Sir, can you explain the execution again from the user end to till it is reaching the system again, it is coming back through that command function is again invoked as this related to that command?
Yeah, definitely. If you want to work with me personally, where I guarantee to work with you until you secure a well paid job, book a one on one call with me. Link is in the description. See, this is your microcontroller running your application code, okay? What I am saying is, I want to interact with it. Now, if you have a device, let us say this is a device, the front panel of the device, there is a 2-line LCD and there are certain keys, up, down, sideways, and there is an enter. Yeah. Now I see something here. I press enter, like I go up. Let us say it is, I have to put 25. The system comes up and the system shows some default value of 00. The cursor is here. So the cursor is here, the cursor is blinking. I will say up, up, and then it becomes 5. Then I press this key. The cursor comes here, starts blinking, and it is here 6. I do down, and it becomes 3. So finally it becomes 53. Now I press enter key. Now 53 goes inside the system. I mean, it's into the application logic. You got it? This is what is a simple LCD interface and with keypad, right? Now I'm saying, forget about keypad. There is somebody here and that person has some communication mechanism wherein instead of 53 in this very tedious manner, he will just say that set temp (53) and he sends it. Now application logic ideally will be now setting certain parameter as 53. There is something called unsigned int thresh underscore temperature, which will be now set to 53. Instead of this keyboard and LCD and all this thing, he should be able to send this. But he's not sending it directly, because sending it directly means there is certain function from application logic that this person should be able to know. Right? See, what if this person has temperature, humidity, this 10 to 15 modules? Do you want this person to actually have 10 to 15 modules in one header file and include it in application.c and compile and do it? That's a worst design, right? Tomorrow I add another module, then I have to add that header file also and compile my application and do many things that could lead to my application code going wrong somewhere. Rather, this fellow who is in the middle, he will say that do not worry. There is a new module that has come, but that is a pressure module. And that pressure module adheres to certain standards called set pressure, get pressure. Then in my application logic somewhere, I will add one more switch case, or maybe depending on whatever the user wants. Actually, the user doesn't need anything. He will just say that, actually there is no logic here. The user will just say that set PRE, yes, 60 something. Then that goes here. My application logic knows what to do with that 60. But who is going to give that 60? This person. And how does he know that? He has a command registered exclusively for pressure module. Then what will happen now? There is a document. Let us say there is a written document that I share to the user. Hello user, our system got upgraded recently. It will also help you get the values of pressure. To get pressure at any point of time, use this command get pressure and enter, or send it. I will take care of all the things and I will send you the value. Clear?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. These are the use cases are way too many. With things like IoT and all those things coming up, this design and all those things. Now, what you require is now just this CLI infra. See, the CLI infra is a piece of code only, which will be inside the complete software. Okay. Don't look at, I'm saying a layer of software doesn't mean that it is somewhere outside, sitting outside like a peon or compounder. It's a piece of code staying by the side of your application logic. Yeah. Any other questions? Oh man, this seems to be very complex. This fellow is telling as if there is nothing, but I'm not getting idea as to how should I do it. And he's saying everything seems to be, okay, I understand. But how to do it? This is developing a project from scratch, right? Otherwise, internet with lot of Arduino code, lot of STM code, lot of Raspberry Pi code. You can happily stay at the same place where you are on a hamster wheel and keep on doing that project and be in that fantasy world saying that, oh, I'm learning about embedded systems, I'm learning about embedded systems. And then when the interview call comes, you will stand before me and say, hey, do you really know embedded systems? Can you answer that question? You need to break out of your comfort zone. Everything gets created twice, once here and once outside. And your mind is your best friend. If the story now in your mind is saying that, Priyanka, chhod do. When Vamsi called, you should have told that, no, some release is going to happen. I will be very busy. Thanks, but no thanks for your offer. Abdul might be thinking, I'm happy in Germany, Bosch, doing these things. You will be helped. And I'll give you ample of information so that your mindset also will change. But you need to put that heavy weight. You should get a feeling that, man, this much hell, this much study, if I would have done in my pre-university or something, I would have landed up in IIT only. You should get that feeling. And let me tell you, this is a bargain that you are going to do with your life only once. Only once. You pay the price for this project with your sleepless nights, pulling out your hair and all those things, shouting on your family, don't disturb, you don't know what I'm going through. All those things, go through it once in your life. You will see you would have crossed that hurdle forever. You will understand that, oh, okay, I can do any project, and you will isolate the facts from assumptions, and you will understand that, yes, I know the devil is always in the details, but at least I know how to tame this beast. But until that time, you should be somebody who should not or who will not give up. The day you give up, gone. Do I have your commitment on that?
Yes,
The
sir.
complete
Yes, sir.
roadmap will be given to you, what to be done, how to be done, and all those things.
Yes.
But no spoon feeding. Pure information will be given. Feedback will be given when the work is done. Corrections, course corrections will be done in a major way. But I can only do the course correction for you if you have left no stone unturned, but still you are not able to meet what is to be done. Am I right in doing that? That when I saying that I don't want to spoon feed you, am I right in that aspect?
Yes, sir.
Unmute
Yes,
and
sir.
tell.
Yes.
Or is there anyone here expecting that? Vamsi, I thought you will give some code. We will read the code and we will try to understand. Anyone with that mindset?
No, sir.
Huh?
No, sir.
No. Okay. Mary says no. Abdul?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Okay. Priyanka is thinking, why did he not still take my name? Yeah, Priyanka.
No, no.
Great. But I will give enough information that will help you to get over that hurdle. Yeah, we will go very systematically. And in fact, the process that you are going to follow will help you to create a product on your own later after this mentoring. And many a times when you actually enter into a corporate world and you are working for a product, you would be starting with a piece of code or a product where the code is already done for you. And this will help you multifold to reverse engineer and understand the product much better than anyone else and be more competitive than your competition. Because somebody who doesn't know the way to understand the software will go in a very hard and crude way. But now with this process, you are traveling from top down, from requirements till code, right? So you just flip the thing and you go from bottom up. And your mind will tell you how to do it because you are already come from top to down. The time they take to understand certain piece of code, you will just do it in maybe 10% of the time that they invested. So it will directly benefit your career. Any other questions? Don't keep questions because if the requirements are not clear and you are not able to understand, the subsequent steps will be much more difficult to handle.
Sir, you are telling that user need to register some commands because we already given the manual that get set. So again, what he need to register with that thing and how many commands he need to register? That I have a little bit doubt.
See, get and set are two dummy commands or two commands that I already gave you. And why did I give you? See, at the end of the day, your application that is trying to do something with a microcontroller, ultimately either it controls something or it measures something. Otherwise, why do we need all those microcontrollers? To sense the environment only, right? So it is always a get and set kind of thing, which is very predominantly existing. So I gave as a hint that you can use get and set. You use some other different thing. Yeah. You have an LCD and you say glow and certain intensity. Use that as a command. Rotate. Yeah, because there is some rotary motion that you want to effectively, you want to get that effect to happen and you say rotate and so many steps. Commands are unlimited. It depends so much on the application that you want to write or the application that is backend hiding behind the CLI infra. Did you get my point?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So I gave get insert as an option. To think of a simple application, just browse for some time and look at Arduino projects only and all those things and try to see which one resonates with you that you want to control. And you know what? These are the kind of things that are existing so common. Hi, Alexa. It's a command, man. It's a hi, Alexa is a command. It is just that the Alexa and you Alexa has that voice recognition, and it has that capability to receive the voice directly instead of a string. But what you spoke is effectively a string that it heard would have internally converted into a string. And finally, when you say raise the volume, is it not going and affecting certain actuator where the extra power, extra amps and volts are being given to certain speaker? Yes. Hi Alexa, what's the time? Yeah, it went and it read RTC. Is it making sense now? How powerful is this infra?
Yes, sir.
Put this project, make it, blow it big, apply for Amazon. Add a voice recognition, you are done. You can make your own voice enabled something. And then when you say, I did it at the back and this and all those things, for people who just do a project which is off shelf and they took that voice recognition module, this, that, and some Python code, they are nothing now before you. Can you imagine? Because you have worked in the trenches, you know what goes behind. Any question? Any more questions? No questions?
Sir, this a small question has just arisen in my mind that if we are uh, enabling some pin of the microcontroller or setting 1 or 0, we can also, I seen some post in that we can also do it through GPIO. So how much useful GPIO in this kind of scenarios, in this kind of application, GPIO?
Your command can directly go and operate on the ports which has those GPIOs, right? When you have to say get temp, the temperature sensor might be residing on the I2C bus. So your application internally we do an I2C transaction with the temperature sensor and read it. So that's why I told your application can be made very complex or it can be made very simple also. But I'm not interested in the complexity of your application or the trivial nature of your application. You go with the most trivial thing because your focus is now on the CLI infra, not the application. That's where I told use simple get and set because it goes very easily with most of the things. Tomorrow, once you have this robust CLI, replace the backend with much more complex things and increase the more number of commands. Make sense? You understand?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, how many of you like stories? Okay, you like stories. Who likes stories? Ajay raised a hand. Okay. Okay. How many of you like stories? Few more people are thinking, stories, how is that related to software development? Okay, let me ask. How many of you read chapter 5 in the C Companion? Okay.
Not completely, but I read a portion of it, sir.
Okay. So let us go from top. I see top shake. You can unmute and you tell me what you understand from chapter 5 of the C Companion.
Sir, I'm still reading, but I have learned about chapter 1 in detail, sir. Still, the work is going on
To
with
the extent that
chapter.
you read on chapter 5. Did you start with chapter 5?
No, sir, just look some of the structure filling and all those things which I have already.
Acha, only wall poster. You have seen only wall poster. You did not see the movie. Man, you
Yeah,
missed the
yes.
action, lot of action. So many
I
fights
will come,
are there.
but I will
Ala.
I will regain in today night, sir.
Yeah, yeah. So Priyanka raised her hand. Priyanka, what did you understand from chapter 5? You are on mute.
Sorry. So chapter 5 tells about the structured programming and what programming is. So I think there was a sub headline that writing program is actually writing a story or writing a book. So if you are writing a code, that should be properly documented. And how it should be documented, there were some examples about it, how formatting is important, how indentation, white space is important. And it was what we should use, like go to, we should not use the go to keyword, and how we should use the macro, how it should be used, that it provides meaningful context to the program. Yeah, that's what I remember, I think, in a shell.
You told all the things outskirts of the, I mean, the compound wall, everything you told. You did not say who is there in the house. Oh, okay, in the within the compound there is this, there are rose plants and all those things. One statement you made that writing a program is actually writing, and you should actually write an essay kind of thing. You should narrate the whole things that are happening. So for your requirements, you take those requirements, and now you should start telling to yourself. Imagine you are sitting in an interview and you are telling to the interviewer what this project is all about. So you need to come up with an essay of this particular project based on the requirements. That's the starting point. Now this is complex and critical. 5 points. In fact, it should be complex plus critical plus complex plus critical. 10 points. But yeah, you have certain time to do it. You are also going to get your weekend now. So if you see today's thing, complex plus critical is nothing but the code that you write and the amount of lines that you read, right? That fetches you the points. And when the project starts, I told the project work now gets tagged on top of it. Doesn't mean that 100 lines and 50 lines go away somewhere. They also are there. And this is what is called stacking. So you have to read 100 lines of code and write 50 lines of code, which you will anyways check in the GitHub. And then on top of it, you have this project work also. Now the project work for this session is, you will go back and understand chapter 5. And the requirements document will be, after this session, will be shared with you. And you start writing an essay. For that, you will have to see the recording maybe multiple number of times, twice, thrice, and all those things. Pick up the subset of activities that you want to finally convert into code, the subset of requirement that you actually want to deal with, the restrictions that you want to put. For example, Abdul may say that, yes, the user has to authenticate, but for me, the authentication is nothing but 1111. That's it. Hard code. Yes, don't complicate. Just hard code, you are done. The access is given. and you all got that. Some people got that state mission code also as one of the things. I mean, during interview. So you can have a state mission saying that if the password is already set, then maybe you will put a global variable that user already validated, some global variable set to true, right? So every time the flag is true, then you don't have to check the password again. So what I would say, when you start narrating these things, if you follow chapter 5, you will very much understand that he starts with high level storytelling, then he breaks them into paragraphs, then he finally reaches to the pseudocode, and he breaks to the first level, second level of talking more and breaking the requirements, second level requirements, third level requirements. So ultimately you will come up with a pseudocode kind of thing. Now what is now required is only the C language translation of the concept that is there on the paper. And this is where your C competency shines. And that is exactly the reason I was telling, write more code and read more code. See, if you are a person who is very good at analyzing the problem and you arrive at the best solution, let us assume that you arrived at the best solution, yeah? But it is there on paper. Who is going to convert it? Only you have to convert. And what comes now for your rescue? Your competency of C language only, right? See, you may pick up bits and pieces of code somewhere, something, and all those things. But even to stitch them as per your story, it's up to you only. So you need to at least write that kind of functions or code which will stitch them. Even there, your C language competency comes into picture. Did you get my point? Yeah. So from tomorrow, your 5 points also includes the incremental steps that you mention. Yeah. About your project understanding. And how are you going to do that? You all have access to the folder. Yes. Where you have the dashboard. You are going to now create in that folder one Google Doc. Just go to the folder, create new. In that you have a doc folder, create one document and start writing about the project. We are going to check what you write. And the way that you write and the analysis you do and the way you write will give both of us that where are you with respect to understanding and how far will you or how far are you from the code. It entirely depends on how elaborate and how clear you are when you start writing this description of the problem that you are going to solve. You need to have that patience, sit through the problem, think about it and all those things. And in the requirement document, there are already good number of hints that I have intentionally planted. Clear? So tomorrow's
Yes, sir.
5 points are a bit complex and critical. Because you already have a complex task which is to write a LinkedIn post. And I know for sure, for many people, LinkedIn post writing itself is, God, it will take 1 hour, man, to write a code. Are you kidding? And 3 points के लिए इतना करना पड़ रहा है. And on top of it, you are asking us to write code, read code, write about project. And what are you giving us? Only 5 points. Go for this, you will enjoy. Play the game. In the game, always look at the ladder. Don't look at the snake. Always look at the brighter side. Ask for yourself. I mean, this is not like that the 3 idiots dialogue that I'm saying. कि आज अच्छा क्या सीखने के लिए मिलेगा. I'm not saying that. But yeah, there is something that is adding value and your career is going to go one notch up. You are slowly getting differentiated with your from your competition. Don't you want that?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Even to show off, don't you want to tell people that, hey, you know about state mission? Hey, so cool, man. On top of it, if you implement, it's super cool. Yeah. So this recording will be uploaded now. If there are no questions, we can conclude the call. And the
Sir,
document will be copied in the same folder where you have that C language. I mean, not C, yeah, the C companion book, right? Accessible to everyone. There only the requirement document will be done. So you need to create a document in your individual folders where you start elaborating about the project. And for that, your understanding of chapter 5 is very important. Apply that knowledge in conjunction with the requirements document is important. And you exercise your intellectual capabilities and your your restrictions that you want to put on the project.
yes.
Yeah. Don't overthink. When you overthink, you will complicate the things way too much. Think, say that, okay, I don't want to do so many things. The minimal thing. How many lines of code do you think after you do this whole thing that you will end up with? Just a rough estimation. How many
250.
lines of code do you think? నేను పంపించిన code lines ఏంటి ఉంటుందో చూడు. నేను పంపించాను కదా code. Sorry, that code that I have sent. Yeah, type a number, no? What, Vamsi? Even now we don't know when we start writing whether the essay will come for 1 page or half page, and you are asking about the lines of code. 180 lines. Yeah. 258. Okay. If you want to work with me personally, where I guarantee to work with you until you secure a well paid job, book a one on one call with me. Link is in the description. 5,000. Okay. Around 340. Around 250. How many answers did I get? Sheikh told 258. May Princey told 5,000. अरे कुछ तो डालेंगे पहले. First he asked. And very comfortably, Priyanka took 10% of whatever Mary said. Okay, a very bare bone implementation that I have done with 2 commands and no driver. And if I add driver, maybe another 100 lines, around 250 lines. But the bare bone thing, which I still did not optimize, I did a very rough thing. It came 160, yeah, 168, 170, 170 lines. I mean, you conclude even blank spaces also, right? Leave the blank spaces. And that header files, commenting and all those things. So in around 150 or 140 lines, you will have the bare bone logic. Add another 100 lines and optimize it a bit. Between 220 to 250, this program will be done. And that involves all the things I'm telling you. That involves everything. It will have a driver. It will have that 2 minimal commands which will read something and do it. it will not be an infant, it will be a fully grown, at least I would say teenager with 250 lines. And going by those lines, Mary's 5000 implies that code's third rebirth or fourth rebirth. So I gave you some, it's ringing certain bells that, oh, okay, it's not so complex thing. Yeah, you will land in Amazon after your 2 or 3 lives after, because of 5000 lines of code. So you got an approximate thing, right? When you see a code and you open a file, we deal with code sometimes 400 lines of code, 500 lines of code. It is not a, the thing is that this is not a very, very complex code. This can grow very, very huge, but it can be done in just less than 200 lines of code, which is not very big compared to what I am asking you to write every day. Read the number of lines of code and write. Okay. So this is time for you to feed more your gray cells. Pull up your socks and jump into the arena. So Princey will say to her daughters and everyone, from today, right, till don't disturb. Anything you want, go and ask your father. Make arrangement, something, because this will be little bit of that kind of taxing, but you will enjoy it. Okay. So from my side, you are going to get the document. From your side, tomorrow you would be creating one document and start the thought process. And to get the thought process more refined, read 5th chapter. Read requirements document, read 5th chapter, scribble something, draw these diagram, look at the video, underline. Best is take the printout of these requirements document, underline what you can do, what you understood clearly, how are they sitting logically in your mind. Got it? So that's why I gave you a tentative feel of at least saying that पता भी नहीं चल रहा है कि कितना बड़ा होगा. Yeah, within 200 lines it will be done. Okay. All set for the day. No more questions.
Sir, one small guidance I need, sir. That C component is nice book, sir, very, but I'm getting some problem with the terminology, the words, because when I'm reading, I'm getting some problems. So I'm reading again and again, and it is taking little bit time. So can you give me some tips that how can I read in less time and understand it more efficiently?
Read more number of times. It is the book. It changed a life. It changed my life. I was all like you, going and purchasing so many courses, thinking of so many courses. I had my study from IISc also. From Linux Foundation, I did some good certifications. Nothing helped me. No use. Time, money, effort, no. But the day I started implementing and thinking deep, I started digging more deep for water instead of digging at 10 different places. I went even after water, then I struck gold. And this book is like that.
Yes, sir. Because when I am thinking that I should leave and go for fifth chapter, again it is looking like something is there that will be helpful. Again I am going. Again I am going. That the whole day has gone. But yeah, I understood that chapter one.
Yeah, the few books that I have written are the few books that I have selected are actually the love letters that I have written for myself. I read them every time. Programming embedded systems in C and C++, this book, Embedded Software Primer.
Sorry, sir. Can you repeat the book's name again due to some technical glitches?
No, Programming Embedded Systems in C and C++ is one book. Yeah, which I talk multiple number of times. See, you look at the posts of few of my mentees who are posting where they are tagging me and I am commenting. They talk about only 2 or 3 books. This book and Programming Embedded Systems in C and C++. These 2 books, they are more than sufficient. Yeah. I hope you have already selected your favorite C textbook. Priyanka, did you select your book?
Yes,
And what is that?
it's the same one which you said, the programming in C and C++ by Michael Barr.
For C language.
It's the one edition is for C language only, right? I think the first or second edition.
Did you copy any C textbook?
There are
C textbook. I am talking about the C textbook that you people have decided. Okay, what is the C textbook that you are following, Shay?
Sir, once I am already done with the C in depth textbook, so I am referring that C in depth
C in
textbook
depth. I
only.
understood. Okay, that publisher I am on. So, Ajay.
Karnak's like a first author, sir. A
Who is that?
C developer.
Okay, I don't know it, but it's a proper C textbook, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, Abdul.
Who found C, sir? Who found C programming?
Okay, you are saying the C programming language K and R C.
Yeah, sir.
Okay, Candy and Richie. Okay, good. Abdul.
Sir, C in depth by Srinivasa.
Okay, got it. Yeah, that C textbook, Priyanka.
okay, so it has to be the C textbook, not something related to embedded.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you have any?
Okay. Yeah, there are plenty. I can check anyone.
What is that you have read at some point of time in your life?
Dennis and Richie, I have read.
It is not Dennis and Richie, it is Kandigan and Richie. Dennis and Richie is a
Okay.
comedy show.
Okay.
Okay, Princey.
I have the C Companion and then book by Kernigan and that
Okay,
KRC.
Kandigan and K and RC. Okay, great. Yeah, that's what I want to. So there are no questions. I'm asking multiple number times if you have any questions or not. That's why I'm extending time. Otherwise, I would have closed and because all these doubts and all those things will become landmines when you start writing, and they amplify so much into bugs when you start writing code. And I'm saying out of my experience, the doubts that somebody has during requirements and not getting satisfied, they don't go anywhere. They have a long life and they become bugs. Okay, I'm done for the day, and I'm super excited to see your Word documents, the documents that you create in the folder and what you write, and mostly by tomorrow evening. Okay. So in this way, Princey has more leverage because for her this is morning time. But yeah, for you, you can record and you can see the recording in the morning tomorrow. I mean, and then do it. Okay. Shall we say bye?
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Yeah. Bye. Good night. Good morning.
Thank you.
Bye.